It's a beautiful Saturday morning. It's probably about 92 degrees. I'm gonna head to the junkyard. It's gonna be a hot day, but I got a few parts that I got to get for Dad's Jeep. We're gonna start off doing some mild repairs to it. Yes, we've still got Argo. Yes, we've still got the XJ, and yes, of course, we've still got the YJ sitting right here. But I just want to go ahead and focus on my Dad's Jeep for a while. So off to the junkyard it is. I already got a bag packed, and we're gonna hit it. All right, what a pain that was. Told you we still had Argo. We're not taking that. We're taking this. This is Sooty the Super Tramp. So heading to the junkyard in style. This is a 1989 Festiva. This is my work car. I love this little thing, and I see a lot of people really destroying these things on YouTube lately. Just absolutely wrecking them, but I love these little cars, and maybe we'll do a few projects on this one. I don't know, but let's go ahead and head to the junkyard. $225,941 miles. So the reason this car is named Sooty the Super Tramp is because it burns as much oil as gas, and it's done 226,000 miles now, which is absolutely amazing. Might need an engine here soon, we'll see. But if we put an engine in it, we're gonna upgrade it a little bit. So, love this car, man. So we gotta do ourselves a little U-turn here. And then we'll be at our destination. Salvage, one of the few U-pulls left in our area. I'll catch up with you guys on the inside. Alright, so here's what I'm after. That Cherokee. Now I've already pulled the transfer case and both drive shafts out of this. I just need some other small parts off of it, and I'll show you guys what I'm after. So, all right guys, so this is what I'm after right here. I'm after the shim and a couple of these bolts that are behind that hinge. Now, when somebody was messing with my dad's Jeep, it looks like they took the door off and maybe left one of those hinges out. So now the front and the rear door contact each other in the top corner. So we got to go ahead and get that fixed so we don't do any damage to those doors, cause any rust or anything like that. I do not have the parts in this one for the window regulators because this is automatic windows, so we'll have to try somewhere else for that. But a couple hinges and we will be out of here. hinge that I need is actually right here. Now that's the driver's side door catch hinge, and mine is completely wallowed out. You can see here this one's already starting to wallow out. So I'm going to look at the one on this back door again and see if it's the same. So they appear to be the same. I guess we'll just pull both of them off and see if they work. But they look to be exactly the same. So let's just go ahead and pull both of them off. Alright guys, so I pulled off the rear hinge too, and I'm sitting here comparing the two, and they are exactly the same. So you can see here that if your front one wears out and elongates, you can use a rear passenger one, and it is the exact same. So that's a good grab from the junkyard if yours is worn out, because even this junkyard one is worn out. So just grab the passenger one, you'll be good to go. So I also pulled off one of those roof rails right there that just goes on the top here. You just pull the end caps off and they slide right off. But I got one of those so I can upgrade to 3 of those on my dad's Jeep, just to have a little bit more room to spread out a load or a roof rack on there. But I'm going to go ahead and grab all this stuff and head toward the front. So I've got 2 hinges, 1 shim, and 1 roof bar. Let's see how much this comes up to. Hot. It's real hot. So $10.70. This is what it costs for the parts we got today. But we're going to go ahead and start tackling this problem tonight. Now looking at it here, you can kind of see the first inclination that something's wrong. Here on the bottom of the door, you'll see how the second door here, or the back door, kind of sticks out farther than the front. Also to notice is that the door gap down here on the bottom is big enough for my finger to fit in, but the 2 doors are crossed at the top. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at the door gap there and then follow it up, you will see that that door gap closes to the point where the 2 doors overlap each other. That's no good. We got to fix that. So not only is it sticking in at the top and out at the bottom, but it's completely crooked through here and it doesn't line up with the other door at all. Now we're going to go ahead and get our tools and see what we can do about putting some door shims in and adjusting some door shims and getting this thing back to where it needs to be. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pull one of the shims out of the bottom door and see how it lines up after that. I'm going to try to do one adjustment at a time, and then I'm going to do a little bit of shimming around the door to kind of get it centered before I tighten down the final screws. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't really done this a whole lot, but we'll give it a try. Go ahead and show you guys the finished product. Now I know it's the next day and I didn't exactly finish yesterday. So I used an impact driver. I used everything that I could to try to get one of these bottom hinge bolts out. It wouldn't come out no matter what I did. So eventually the head rounded off and it was time to just go ahead and cut the bolt out of there. Guys, if you got to do this, don't hesitate to just cut the head off one of those bolts, get the door off there and grab it with a pair of vice grips and turn it out. Turned out fine for me. So I did end up straightening out the door. Let's go ahead and look at the door gap here. So you can see the door gap up here is far more acceptable. It no longer overlaps the two doors, and the gap down the door is far more even. You'll also notice that all the way down here at the very bottom, the doors don't overlap anymore. They transition smooth from one door to the next. So guys, I gotta say, I definitely learned a few things doing the shims on these doors. So when all was said and done, I ended up with 2 shims on the top and no shims on the bottom. That finally got the door gap to where it was right. So everything looks good now. The door closes well. The door tops are lined up. It's not rubbing the kick panel on the inside of the door. All in all, everything looks pretty good with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and consider this repair a success. This was a small repair, but it was something that I thought was pretty necessary, because every time I open this door and it strikes that one, that's just more damage being created. Small projects deserve a little bit of attention too, not just the big ones. The next project, however, is gonna be the transfer case. Now the transfer case in this has been stuck in 4 high since the winter. Started to do a little bit of groaning to the front end, a little bit of damage there. So the front drive shaft was pulled and the transfer case was just left in 4 high. We're gonna have to do something about that. We can't just leave the transfer case in 4 high. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that transfer case out and throw a junkyard transfer case in there with the drive shaft. They do have different yokes on the back of the transfer case, so we will get that taken care of. But once again, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you joining me. I'm just getting to the point where I'm getting comfortable making videos again, so hopefully they'll start coming more frequent as we get more projects and more parts pulled for this. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you in the next one.